But first, Liz, Redlands Shire has got an extraordinary number of native title claims.
They do indeed. The major South East Council in Queensland is looking at spending almost $210 million trying to keep control of very much used community lands. We're not talking about vacant lots or land sitting idle. These are popular foreshores where families hang out. This is even the council chambers, the cemetery in this part of town that have all these claims being laid against them. And to be clear, this claim was first laid in 2017 to Aboriginal elders, decided that they should be in charge of this, which is really surprising given over 362,000 hectares of land has already been given to Indigenous bodies in Queensland. So out of all the states, this state has been the most generous already. But this is, of course, unprecedented, and should it get up once the federal court starts considering it later this year, it's going to set one heck of a precedent here in the nation. What is off limits? That's going to be the new question that absolutely everybody is asking themselves. But of course, we should remember this isn't unique to Queensland. We were talking about something very similar here in New South Wales just last week. Here's Ben Ford of 2GB talking to Aboriginal Land Council CEO Nathan Moran.
What about across all groups?
So across the state, I know that the number officially was 38,000 June last year, and I believe that when we discussed it just recently at a gathering, it's brokered to near 40,000 claims across New South Wales are undetermined, have not been assessed and sit in files.
To be clear, as of 30th of June this year, there were 38,339 Aboriginal land claims awaiting assessment in the state of New South Wales. And today, Premier Minns has made a promise that he will prioritise these and make sure that they're processed far quicker in the future than they have been in the past. Of course, he recently handed over Goat Island. It's now called Meemel. Is that how you pronounce it? I never know. Sure. I never know. Unless you're watching the announcement, you have absolutely no idea. But this seems to be a growing trend. We are watching our country be carved up piece by piece right before our very eyes. No one seems to be questioning the validity of it. I guess in this case, that's up to the federal court. They're going to look into whether this native title claim actually has any oomph behind it.
Speaking of the federal court, and here's the salt in the wound with this thing, is that while local ratepayers are going to have to stump up for potentially $200 million defending the claim, the claimants are funded by the federal government.
Yeah.
So you pay twice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is just ridiculous. I mean, look, last week we showed a clip of Michael Mansell, who is a prominent Aboriginal lawyer down in Tasmania, who was saying perhaps we should set up a seventh Aboriginal state. I'm getting more and more on the side of him doing that, because at least then if we give them one blob of land somewhere, it's all theirs, and you don't start doing these piecemeal things around the country. If you end up in this situation where a council has to pay $200 million to defend itself against claims against tennis courts, against sporting fields, against council chambers.
A cemetery.
I know people are dying to get into the cemetery. I just didn't know they were dying that hard.
Funny, you're not old enough for the dad joke.
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see about that. But the problem is, I thought with native title that as soon as freehold existed over the land, native title was extinguished. And it would seem in this case they don't care. They're going to try it on anyway. So you get funded, as you say, James, by the taxpayer to make these claims. The ratepayer then pays to defend against those claims. We pay twice for it. Who wins in this situation?